The NFL is here. Finally. Thursday night football, Friday night football, Sunday football, Monday football, Sunday night. We have everything finally here. We're done with the preseason bets. We still have college bets coming on, so we're not done with that. We have that coming tomorrow or on Friday when you're watching this. Whenever those bets come out, you'll see them as well. We have a video today, Thursday night football and Friday night football previews. We have right now 6 total bets, 3 for each Thursday night football, 3 for Friday night football. I'm not going to waste your time because I know these bets videos can get a little bit long-winded when I'm just yapping for so long. So we're going to try to keep this one short today. We're going to hop straight into it. So wasting no time, we're on Underdog Fantasy, which is where we're going to take all of these bets. As you can see behind me, make sure to use code BDGE because you can get up to a free $1,000 back when you deposit for the very first time. Not only that, but you also can get a free square of Travis Kelce for half a yard. You also can get a bunch of promos that they're doing throughout the entire weeks of sweat-free bets, bonus bets, boost percentages on bets, parlay bets. Not only that, they're also doing a Lamar Jackson free square. So you'll get the Lamar Jackson, Travis Kelce square absolutely free when you use code BDG. So make sure you take advantage. Let's waste no time. Let's keep pushing here. First bet we have, we're going to start with the Patrick Mahomes side of things. We're going to start with the Kansas City side of things. We're going into 20.5 rushing yards. This is my play of the day for Thursday night football. No wasted time in it. Mahomes scoots in prime time. If I told you that he hit this 10 of his last 10 primetime games, you'd probably be like, gut, you're on crack. But he has. 6 of 6 last season hitting over this line, including 45 yards in week 1 of last season versus a better run defense in the Lions, who was number 2 against the run last season. Not only that, he fell just short of this against Baltimore in the playoffs. And I know that's what most people will bring up. It's against Baltimore. He has not hit this in the past 2 times. But one, defensive coordinator's changed for Baltimore. Now it's Zach Orr. Obviously, the defensive coordinator went to Seattle. But here's the thing. He had the volume. He had 6 attempts, which is what we're looking for. Anytime Mahomes can scoot for 6, 5 attempts, it's not like a running back where he's only going to get 3 yards a carry. He's normally doing it when the receivers run vertical, lanes open up. He has a corner on the outside where he can scoot for 5, 10, 12 yards at a time. Normally, quarterbacks have a higher rushing yards per carry line because of that. Mahomes has been known to scoot in the past. I think they're going to force him to scoot. As I think he has now downfield weapons with Xavier Worthy being on the squadron. Obviously, he's still going to have a safety valve in Travis Kelce, but for the most part, I think he's going to have some lanes open up. I think he can easily hit over this line like he has in a ton of his primetime games. He also crushed this as he's been at home. 9 of the last 11 home games crushed this line. So I think he's going to continue to do that today. I could bring up the grass to turf statistics, but we're not going to. We'll look at his props.cash real quick. When you look at his rush yards, this is what I'm looking at. Prime time, he's a dog, dude. He's a fucking dog. So yeah, he doesn't really miss this line in prime time, which is what we're looking at. Not only that, if we go to, I think we can go to, home here. He hits it at home at a pretty consistent rate. Obviously, scooting against San Francisco, that was a Super Bowl. I don't really count that as a home game, but you still get this. You still get the general visual here, and we have that. Obviously, overall picture doesn't look as hot, but again, when we narrow down to what exactly he's doing against the teams he's going against, it looks pretty good for him. And then again, we go to the head-to-head. It's like, oh, he only had 15 rushing yards last time, but we go to the rush attempts, he had 6. And obviously the last game was in 2021. We disregard that. But if you use 6 attempts, I'm going to take that over almost every single time. I think he's probably going to have 5 attempts today. I think he can easily scoot over that 20-yard mark. Might be able to get a chunk of that in just one rush. Absolutely love this line for Thursday night. For our next play, we're going to be fading a guy. Guys, we scroll down here. Receiving yards, Rashad Bateman. I'm sorry to do it to you Ravens fans, and I don't think you're going to be mad at me because Rashad Bateman hasn't really been good, hasn't really broken out. We have a healthy Mark Andrews now, and here's where props.cash comes very useful. If we go to receiving yards, obviously Mahomes ain't going to have no damn receiving yards, but we go to Rashad Bateman at 30.5 here. Hello? Rashad Bateman, well, head-to-head. Yeah, he had 2 yards versus Kansas City in the playoffs, but even without that, here's where we can do a lot of filters and look into this. Again, Props Like Cash, that doesn't even sponsor us here at BDG. They do sponsor me, so if you want to get 25% off your first month and use all these tools, make sure you use code GUT25, and you'll get 25% off your first month. Next, you can look at this in a very simple light. One, we can go to like primetime games for Rashad Bateman. I don't think that really matters for him as much because there's no real pressure on him. But I do want to look at a few key stats here with Mark Andrews. We can filter by players. So we go to here. We can look at Mark Andrews. Should be here, right here. So with Mark Andrews, he's hit this 2 of 10 times. Not very hot. Those games came against Arizona and Detroit, who are horrific pass defenses last season. Against every other team, he absolutely sucked. Against good pass defenses, Cleveland, well under this line. Cincinnati, well under this line. Kansas City didn't even touch 2 yards last year. Pittsburgh had a good pass defense, way under this line. Tennessee had a mid pass defense, way under this line. He hit this in 2 of 10 total games last season when Mark Andrews was on the field. And if we go to let's say his last 30 games of Mark Andrews, it wasn't since 2022 that he hit this 3 times, had a few big games. 2021, he didn't hit this at a consistent rate. But recently, it has just been horrific. And that's really what we're looking at. Again, they didn't really add anybody to be a threat here. You lose OBJ. I don't think OBJ was as big of a factor as gaining Mark Andrews back is. I think Bateman's going to get shut down here. Per usual, especially now you have Derrick Henry in this game who's going to take away a ton of touches. Bateman now is like the 4th or 5th option. You have Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, all options above him in who touches the ball. I think Rashad Bateman, I think his line is even as low as 2.5 receptions. So if you think he gets 3 receptions for 30 yards, maybe, but I'm leaning the under on pretty much everything here for Bateman. I liked him as a prospect coming out, but he hasn't really turned into anything. So I can't agree with taking his over here. And again, a lot of his targets, like he's 3 of these targets where he only has, again, 3 targets. Some of these are just in the red zone, which doesn't really give him much upside to really break out here. But again, you can look at all these numbers if you want yourself. But for now, again, this is the main number I look at with Mark Andrews. Even without Mark Andrews, only 3 of 10 games. 6 of 17 games total last season. It's just a clear under for me, even on prime time, even in the big moments. I think he easily goes under this line. All right, and now for our last Thursday night slip. I know we've been flying through this, and that's what I plan to do with these because I don't want to keep you guys too long in these videos. 56.5 receiving yards for Travis Kelce. I absolutely love this spot. Going to receiving yards, they have him at 58. We lower that bitch to 56.5. He crushes this line. 68% of games last year, and you would think last year was his worst year. Still hit this in 13 of 19 games at a 68% rate. Not only that, he crushes this versus Baltimore. Absolutely smashes it out of the park. Having over 100 yards in both games. In the reception side of things, 7 and 11 targets. 7 and 11 receptions. Targets are even higher. He's going to keep crushing this line. Of his last 5 games last season, 4 of 4, 5 of 4 if you want to count that one. And again, last 10, 7 of 10, so a 70% right there. 65% his last 20, 63% his last 30. He easily hits over this line. In prime time, he feasts. Obviously, this dates back to 2022 a little bit, but if you look at just last season, he played in 4 primetime games, hit over this line again. He has that 58 there, 56.5. He's hit this in 4 of 5 of his games last season in prime time. It looks great. And the only team he didn't do it against Philly, who arguably has a very, very good defense. And this was before Philly really started to suck. So I really like this prop for Kelce. I think you can easily take advantage of this. Again, targets over the last 5 primetime games, 9, 9, 5, and 10. If he gets 9 to 10 targets, easily smashing over this line. If you look at his targets at the end of last season, we can again look at it down here. 10, 7, 7, 4. But 10, 6, 11, and 10, they're going to utilize him a lot in primetime games. Last year, again, if we go back to he didn't play week 1. Yeah, no, he didn't play week 1 last season. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see how he comes out this week 1. Again, maybe Taylor Swift's there. Get a little boost. We'll see. But we'll keep it pushing. Right now, we're 10 minutes into the video, probably like 9 minutes for you guys. So I don't want to make this a 20-minute fucking bets video. So we keep it pushing to Friday. But before we get into Friday, let's talk about Pickett. This is where you can see all my bets. Obviously, you're looking at the month of September right now. We're up 5.3 units, 6-2 on the record. Absolutely cooking. And NCAA and college football, we are 2-0 in the month. Obviously, we swept on Monday's slate, which was the first month of September. Overall, we're even doing better than that. I think we're 7-2 right now in college football. So absolutely cruising, making money against all football fronts. So we absolutely love that. So make sure you're dialed on Pickett using code BDGE. When you sign up, you'll be entered into a merch raffle. So if you want some absolute tough merch, you'll get a care package. If you enter and use code BDGE, you can follow me. My profile name is just Guts045 as well as Nick Guthrie. So if you want to follow me there, you'll automatically follow Nick as well, who'll be posting a ton of his props. Tony, you can follow at Tony No Dimes. And JMO, I think, is just Jamison Trahan. So make sure to follow us on there, on Pickett, dial in, use code BDGE, sign up. You can track your own bets. You can track our bets, all of that sort of fun shit. But we're going to hop into Friday night's game against the Eagles and Packing Stains. Now, this one is in Brazil. Interesting approach as neither team can wear green. We'll see what happens there. But starting out with my favorite prop, Jalen Hurts, 240 and a half passing yards. Taking the higher on this one, you're probably like, gut, he didn't hit this much at all last year. And we can go back and we can look, and he really didn't, if I'm going to be very honest. But here's the thing. He has a new offensive coordinator this season. 9 of 18 games, so 50% of games. Only 3 of the last 10. The Eagles absolutely sucked at the end of last year, so I wasn't really expecting much here. But you look at the full picture here, and this is where we really get dicey, and there's going to be a lot more numbers on the screen now than there were before as I dive into this. Jalen Hurts now has Kellen Moore. He's going from the throwing the ball 11th least in the NFL at 31.5 pass attempts per game. Now he goes up to 37.2 passing attempts per game, which is what the Chargers did last season, again, where Kellen Moore's offense was. And in the past 5 seasons, he's had it not below. He's never had below a top 5 passing volume. So he's always been in the top 5. Number 1 last season. Number 2 the 2 seasons prior before that. But averaging 37.2 pass attempts per game. So that means Hurts will probably not get to that 37 mark, but I think he'll get around it. So say he gets 36 attempts per game. That is still 5 higher than his average last season. And he was coming close to this line in most games, obviously hitting this 9 of 18 games. You look at the beginning of the season, he was absolutely cooking. A.J. Brown is his target. Jahan Dotson just got added. He's Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Now he has Saquon out of the backfield. And he's playing against a very mid Packers secondary who got absolutely roped by Bryce Young last season. So I think Jalen Hurts can have a big day. His line was at 238.5, and the lines have been underdog have been moving like crazy. So make sure you're paying attention and getting those lines at proper value on UD. But we're going to absolutely snag this. I think adding Saquon is only going to help him as well. You get easy dump offs, easy screen passes, and we're going to filter that right into the reception line. Saquon Barkley, only 2.5. He absolutely smashed his 10 of 14 games last season. Obviously, he was with the Giants. Looks like a whole different scheme. But again, you're probably like, guts! Jalen Hurts does not check down the ball. What the fuck are we doing? Well, Kellen Moore's offense, they do. If you remember, Dak Prescott checked down the ball a absolute fuck ton. And even looking back at last season, because again, I like to look at the most recent seasons of their offenses. Justin Herbert, last season, checked the ball down 51 times. Receptions. For 51 receptions at over 70 targets to Austin Eckler. And Austin Eckler sucked. He was an absolute cone, absolute bot. Saquon, I think, can absolutely smash this line. He's a better running back. He's a better pass catcher at this time in his career. He's just an overall better player. I think he's going to see the volume. If Eckler's seeing 51 receptions a game, which is a 3.6 average, I think Saquon will be around there. I think he'll probably be at the 45 mark. Either way, still smashing over this line against a Packers secondary where Jair's probably going to play over Devonta, over A.J. Brown for a lot of the game. They're going to need easy checkdowns. I think you can get some easy screens for some big yards to manipulate like Quay Walker and them on the defensive side of the ball to get him out in one-on-one space. Not only that, but again, the passing volume increase really helps him here where, again, Jalen Hurts should see a few more passing opportunities. With that being said, it could lead to some more checkdowns and easy receptions for Saquon Barkley. Again, he smashed this his entire career. He's hit this in 65% of his career games. And again, I don't really want to look into the primetime stuff because it doesn't really matter because he's not on the Giants anymore. So we'll see how that goes. Again, DeAndre Swift was underwhelming as a pass catcher last year, coming in as a notable pass catcher. But Saquon, I think, is just an overall better player. They're going to want to get the ball into his hands early and often as they paid him. And again, his targets were nuts last year. I think he's going to see something similar to that this year in the Kellen Moore offense. I think this is just an easy smash over. And I don't love taking overs, but I do in this game. Heading on to our last bet. We'll add that slip real quick. Saquon Barkley, 2.5 reception. And our last bet here. Under 63.5 rushing yards for Josh Jacobs. You're probably like, guts. They just signed him. All this money. Now the running back, Aaron Jones, popped off at the end of last season. Yada, 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 whatever. Vic Fangio coming over to the Eagles, okay? Vic Fangio last season with the Dolphins, who had an absolute beat-up D-line. With multiple players going down. Jalen Phillips tearing his fucking Achilles. Everybody going down. Bradley Chubb going down. Everybody went down last season for the Dolphins. Top 5 run defense still, even with that. They were top 5 in yards per attempt. The Eagles were top 10 last season with a worse defensive coordinator, a absolute fall off at the end of the season. Vic was overseeing this defense in 2022 when they had the absolute best defense in the entire league, led them to a Super Bowl. I think they come back to that. I don't think they're going to a Super Bowl, but I think they have a top defense. Their defensive line is insane right now. Their linebacking core got better. Their secondary should be able to help and support. Cooper DeJean, obviously the add there, as he's going to be like a strong safety corner type of vibe. I think he's going to be a player that you can really rely on down the stretch here as a good run play secondary player there. With that being said, obviously they had a very good run with Aaron Jones at the end of last season, but Josh Jacobs does not hit this line consistently at all, even with the Raiders, even before this season. Going back, only 50% of his last 46 games he had over this line, and he was getting fed the rock. If you look at his rushing attempts, averaging 17.5. Does he even see 17.5 today? I highly doubt it. This Packers offense is going to run through Jordan Love. They're going to try to attack this old side of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, this pretty old Eagles secondary. So I think they're probably going to attack him through the air. They're going to want Jordan Love to get loose, going to get comfortable in a big game. Prime time game, 50%. You know, again, it's the Raiders, so they kind of stink. But it'll be interesting to see how he does versus a very, very good defense in the Eagles. And I think the Eagles are going to be a top 5, if not top 2, rushing defense last season. Even last year, as you can see here at the top, we can look here. 10th in rushing yards per game, only allowing 100 total. Now, again, that's among all backs, all quarterbacks, everything. And 5th in rushing attempts because people do not want to rush versus this defense. They just don't. They want to pass against them. Their passing defense was weak last year. Allowed 31 of the most passing yards, 32nd the most pass attempts. I think it's going to be a similar story this year. They're going to try to attack that secondary. I think they're going to try to attack the older vets there. I don't think Darius Slay's the same guy that he once was. Obviously, guys like Bradbury fucking stink. We'll see how the rookies do. But for the most part, we're going to attack Reed Blankenship and all of them in the back there. All right, those are my plays, though. We have all 6 now. Now you're down. Went through all 6, fired through them, tried to get through them in a manual time, 19 minutes. That was a lot for 6 plays. But we're finally done. Those are the 6 plays. Friday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Use code BDGE on Underdog. Use code BDGE on Pickett so you can cash out and have your monthly slip look like this. Green. Absolutely green. No dips. That's how you know we're cashing out in a big way. So make sure you take advantage and sign up on those 2 sites using code BDGE. Have fun, guys. It is week 1. I'm super excited. We're going to have plays rolling out. We're going to have videos, so you guys know, for Thursday. We're going to have videos for Thursday Night Football / Friday this week, but mostly just Thursday. Sunday, we're going to have one with me and Tony where we sit down and go over literally every game. So that's going to be a fun time one for you guys. And then we have I'm not going to do a video for Monday. I'm just going to do a live stream. Again, only one game. Only going to have a few props. And I don't have as much time to prep that with the lines being all moving around as much as they do. So I'm going to do a live stream for Monday. But I'm also going to have live streams every single day before the games. Thursday, we'll have one with all the boys. Sunday, we'll have one with all the boys. Friday will just be me. Saturday will be just me because it's college. Oh, we also have a college bet video coming out on Friday as well. Sunday will be with all the boys. Monday will be just me. So make sure you guys tune into the live streams if you want the most up-to-date bets, locks, and everything that I'm placing. If you don't see it on Pick, or if you just want to come and see my leans of where I'm looking at, if you want to bet on a particular game or ask questions, you can always do that as well. Make sure you lock in, tune in. Love you guys. Peace.